Peace and blessings. How are you, Life Warrior? Happy Monday. Thank you for tuning in to Monday Message. Have you ever struggled with authenticity? Have you ever wondered what that term really means and, why it's such a big deal to people? Or have you ever questioned if you are being authentic or how to be authentic? Well, today's message is totally for you, so I'm really glad that you tuned in. Authenticity is a value that I hold very near and dear to my heart. I think that authenticity is what drives me to be who I am. And now I'm not perfect, and so I'm not always 100% authentic to myself, but it's something that I really value, and so it's something that I really strive to live by. And so this is a topic that I'm at home in because it's something that's really important to me. So I thought I'd unpack authenticity for you a tiny bit today with a really amazing quote by Gary Zukov. So a lot of people often ask me, what is authenticity? Like, how do you know you're being authentic? And usually it's people who are like not really buying into the whole being authentic thing, or they're just skeptic or cynical. And I found it really hard for a while to explain what authenticity is, like how to find the right words of authenticity. And, because we can get into this whole it's being true to you. But sometimes being true to you means that you step all over other people. And I don't think that is authenticity with integrity. I think that's just being arrogant and self-centered and narcissistic. It's totally different than being authentic. If you being authentic means that you just walk all over everybody else because you are trying to be authentic, I don't think that that's true authenticity. I think an authentic person sometimes, as a result, may rub other people the wrong way because you're doing your thing, and it doesn't always, other people got their stuff going on and it may rub up against their stuff, but that's different than just I gotta do my thing even at the expense of other people. That's a totally different place to be functioning from that we're not talking about today. So I don't know if that made sense, but let's unpack it a little bit. So authenticity, what does it mean? This is the best definition I've come across, and it's by Gary Zukov. He says that authenticity is when the personality comes fully to serve the energy of the soul. I'll say that again. Authenticity is when the personality comes fully, right? It really comes all the way through in order to serve the energy of the soul. Or, I might replace the word energy with the purpose of the soul. So what does he mean by that? Let's unpack that quote and that statement a little bit. So you have a soul, and the soul is encased in the body. The body, because of karmic tendencies, has its own personalities, its quirks, its likes and dislikes. Why are two children born of the same parents in the same household, raised the same way, they can be two totally different people? Like my children, for example. I have one who gets out of bed and is just full of zest and energy right away. And the other one, I have to wake him up 10 times to get him out of bed. Right? They're just very different beings. Even though they have the same exact DNA, they come from the same parents, they've been raised by those same parents, in the same house as the other sibling, with the same kind of upbringing. Why are they so different? Well, because they each have their own personality. And so kind of leaning into the yogic teachings of where does your personality come from? It comes from old karmic patterns and old karmic desires and old karmic tendencies that you've built up over lifetimes that lead you to this moment right here, this life. Those personality traits are given to you so that you can fulfill out your purpose in your life and all the things that you meant to live out in this lifetime. I hope that makes sense. So you have a soul, and your soul goes from body to body, and the soul just is the soul. It is comprised of what we call Sat Chit Ananda. It is comprised of truthfulness or eternal truth, Chit, eternal knowledge or a knowing, and Ananda, a bliss, this innate happiness is always there. And so that's your soul, right? And your soul comes into this realm for a particular purpose, to have a particular experience, and to live a particular life. Each soul is ingrained with a purpose for that particular life experience. Now, I'm just getting into sort of my beliefs and what I believe. You don't have to subscribe to any of this, but I'm going to walk you through this dialogue because I know it's been really impactful for me in sort of understanding myself and authenticity. So again, I'm not trying to convince you that what I believe is true. It's just what I believe. If it's true for you, awesome. If parts of it are true for you, take what works for you and leave the rest. If you don't like any of this, just turn off the video right now. I'm not like super invested in whether you think this is true or not. I'm just sharing my insights, my experience, my wisdom, my perspective, and the teachings that I've gathered along the way. So to come back to where we were, you have a soul, and it's encapsulated in a body, and that body has a particular personality, right? Like my body is female, and I really like to stay up at nighttime and work on projects. I'm not really quite a morning person. I like to go to yoga. I don't really like to do competitive sports. I am really good at talking, and there are certain inclinations I have of the things I like to talk about, the things I like to read, and the things that I like. Why do I like to read personal development books as opposed to the next person who likes to read action stories and horror books and like crime investigation books? Right? Those are personality traits. That's what makes us unique, is that we all have these different personalities. Now, the personality isn't part of the soul. The soul is just, it goes from body to body, and each body, each lifetime, you have a personality that goes along with that soul, right? Like, why do some people love to dance and others, like, it's just not our thing, right? We all can dance, but for some people, it's their thing. That's their personality trait, right? And so what Gary Zukov is trying to say is we all have these personality traits, and authenticity is when you use those personality traits to serve the purpose of your soul. Okay, so your soul is here on this planet for a reason. You are here on purpose with a purpose, no doubt, in my mind anyways. Right? You are here on purpose with a purpose. Now, your personality that you have, yes, and that gets developed over time, nurture versus nature, these things happen, right? But they're still, even outside of nurture, there's nature. And like some people just have certain personality traits that like you wonder where they come from. And because it's ingrained within that being, within that sort of karmic outplay. The karmic tendencies come through to play out in your life to serve your purpose. I hope this is making sense for you. If you're like really not a subscriber of yoga and yogic teachings, this may not be the video for you. So your personality has certain traits. Like some of us maybe are labeled with OCD. We're like super OCD about everything being neat and tidy and organized. And people may give you a hard time about that trait. And they might like make fun of you or talk down about you or sort of pigeonhole you into a certain category of people with a negative connotation. But what I think authenticity is learning to use that trait that was gifted to you to utilize that personality trait to serve your soul. What if you took your OCD nature around cleaning and being organized and made a business out of it by helping other people clean their house and get organized? Now it's no longer a downfall. It is just part of your personality that serves your greater mission of your soul. See, each soul is ingrained with a purpose, or what we call a Dharma. What is your Dharma? What is your purpose? What is your reason for existing? We're all here for a reason. Every single one of us is here for a reason. And all of those reasons are different and vary between each individual. And I know that many of you are trying to figure out what your purpose is. Well, a good way that you can start to get a glimpse of what your purpose might be is by looking at your personality traits. There's going to be some signs there within your personality trait that shows you the direction that you should be going in to find your purpose, right? So for example, myself, I am a very emotional being. I am a Cancer sign, so I'm a water sign. My rising sign is a water sign. I'm just a very watery person. And I've been this way since I was a child. I've been very emotional. And as a child, I was taught that being emotional was bad, I was taught to shut down my emotions, and that they were sort of a nuisance, or they were like they were just a distraction, or just something that I was bothering people with, right? Like my most vivid memory of my dad is him saying, "Oh, Andrea, stop crying." And I can hear him say it. I can see his facial expression in my mind. I can see his body language and the mood and the tenor of his voice of like, "Oh, Andrea, stop crying. Oh, you're gonna cry again. Why are you crying? Like, just stop your crying." It was like, it was such a nuisance. It was just like I was bothering him with my emotions. And he shut it down. He shut me down. And as I got older, like even the term like, "Oh, you're a sensitive person," has such a negative connotation. And I was somewhere recently at a conference doing some personal development work and being coached, and I was, first day I'm just like, I'm already bawling my eyes out. I'm feeling like a blubbering idiot because I'm the only one in the room crying. And obviously crying, right? Like it's hard for me to hide my emotions. And I just remember walking around during the break, just like wanting to hide and feeling a lot of shame. And I ran into some of the team that was putting the conference on, and I was talking with them and apologizing for being such a mess, but also like, "Oh my God, why is nobody else crying? It's just me. There must be something wrong with me." And they were like, "Oh, no, don't even say that." They're like, "Don't say that. It is because you are emotional that we love you so much. Your emotions are your strength. Don't ever apologize for being emotional." Now, that doesn't give me like blanket permission to just be like an emotional mess all over the place. That's not what I'm saying at all. But what it did do is give me permission to just be in my emotions and to honor the fact that I have them and that I feel so strongly. And they said, "Because you feel so strongly, because you are so emotional, that's exactly why we love you. That's exactly what we appreciate about you." And I'll tell you, because it's so easy for me to tap into my emotion and to feel it, it's very easy for me to empathize with other people's emotions. It's very easy for me to hold space. It's very easy for me to relate with other people's emotions. It's very easy for me to give people permission to feel what they feel, because that's what I've been doing my whole life. And so rather than see my personality traits as a downfall, I can look at my personality trait and go, "Oh wow, I've really been able to use that to serve my soul's purpose," which is to be a space holder and to be a facilitator and to be the type of leader that gives people permission to feel and be who they are, right? I also have the gift of gab. I can talk, and I'm like, I know it's annoyed my parents to no end, and my brothers, and like, my poor spouse. Like, I can just talk and talk and talk and talk. And I'm able to use that gift when I'm teaching. When I get up and I teach a class, or I teach a workshop, or I give a lecture, or I film these videos. My gift of gab that may have been like an annoyance to somebody else, or like seen as a shortcoming to other people, right? It actually is my gift. It's my personality to talk, to want to have discussion, to have dialogue, and like ask questions, and let's like break this thing apart and talk about it. Like, I want to unpack this thing. Let's have a discussion. That's been me my whole life. But it got shut down so many times, most often because I'm female, and women should be seen and not heard. And I just was around a lot of men who hadn't really gone through the evolution of like, women can be involved too. Women can have an opinion too. Luckily, as I got older in life, I was able to be around men and women who allowed me to speak, who like gave me space and permission to speak, who invited me to speak, who was interested in what I had to say. And so it allowed me to step into that personality trait and just start talking and finding my voice. And so I share these stories with you, not to make this video about me, but so that hopefully you can relate the message of what I'm saying. Often we have these personality traits that other people don't like about us, and they tell us that they're wrong, and so they shut it down. They shut it down. And, like my kids, right now my kids are like on this, for a while now, they've been on this entrepreneurial kick where they're like, what can we make to sell to earn some money? So like first it started off with origami, and then they wanted to sell cookies, and then they were selling sorbets, and then it was like magic tricks, and now they're like, well, let's go to the thrift store and buy some used clothes, and maybe like remake them up a little bit and resell them. And they have all these ideas, and of course, like as a mom who's an entrepreneur, I'm super busy, and I could shut that down really quickly and be like, you're so scattered, just pick one thing and stick with that. But being the person that I am, I want to really encourage my kids to pursue figuring out who they are and what they really like, and allowing them to step into those personality traits. So clearly they have an entrepreneurial personality, where they're always super creative and they're just going from one thing to the next until they find the thing that sticks. And I got to let them figure that out, right? Let's see, like my youngest son, he wakes up with all kinds of energy, so much energy, it's almost annoying, where, often he has so much energy throughout the day where I'm just like, dude, chill out, calm down. Can you just like chill, take a chill pill? And I'm constantly sort of like quieting his energy. And basically what's happening is I'm telling him that it's not okay to be energetic. But I guarantee you that energy that he has is a personality trait that is ingrained within him to serve his purpose, which I don't know what that is, and neither does he. But if I continue to quiet his energy, to quiet his enthusiasm, to quiet his like gusto for life, if I continue to quiet that, he will have a hard time stepping into his purpose as an adult, because I've told him that it's not okay to be energetic, right? So just know that like I've recognized that, and I am less likely to tell him to calm down. I allow him to be his crazy self wherever he is, unless I'm like meditating, and I'm like, dude, we're meditating, chill out. Otherwise, I let him be wild and crazy. I allow him to explore and do funny things. I allow him to like get into things that interest him, even though I'm like, that's not really my thing. I don't make it my thing. I make it about him. Like, you figure out your personality, because I know your personality is going to serve the mission of your soul, the purpose of your soul. So hopefully those insights and those experiences from my own life have served you and helped you a little bit here in understanding what I'm talking about. We all have personality traits. We all have what we sometimes call quirks, things that make us, things that are unique to us. So what are your personality traits, right? Maybe you are the person who's always dominating the conversation. Maybe people make fun of you because you pay too much attention to detail. Maybe people make fun of you because you love to set the mood and create the ambiance for everything, right? I had a friend who used to do that, and it was a guy, so he used to get made fun of a lot, like, oh, there he goes, like he's always got to set the mood. But you know what, like that really serves his purpose and his mission now. Like, he's always setting the mood. He became a yoga teacher, and he has created a great space, and he's always creating the ambiance for the experience, and it really serves his purpose. But he used to get made fun of and picked on all the time about it. Are you following what I'm saying? We all have these personality traits, and people often shut them down because it makes them uncomfortable, and you're sort of out of the norm. You don't fit in a box, and so don't do that thing. But that very thing that makes you out of the box is what's serving your authentic self. It's what's serving your soul's purpose. And the more you stand in your soul's purpose, the more you are authentically you. And so, especially those of us as little girls or women, if we are like able to take charge, what are we always told? You're bossy. You're a bossy person. You're controlling. And yes, maybe you don't know how to hone in on that personality trait yet, so it does come across as controlling and bossy. But I'm telling you, if you have been called bossy or controlling, there is a leader inside of you, and you just need to find a way to lead. You need to find a cause that you want to lead, where you can take those skills and those personality traits and really use them as a positive force. So, what are your personality traits? I want you to think back in your life. What have people said about you, whether it was good or bad, about your personality? Figure out what your personality traits are, and I guarantee you it'll start to guide you towards what your soul's purpose is. And if you can use those personality traits to really serve the purpose or the energy of your soul, that's called authenticity. And I really wish that for so many of us, because I know that we all desire to live authentically, and I know how much of a struggle it can be because we're trying to figure out who we are. And so what I'm trying to do is provide you a way in which you can start to really investigate and self-reflect this process, so that you can really begin to hone in on, who am I and why am I here? So start to look at your personality traits. What have people told you? Have people called you bossy? You pay too much attention to detail. You're super OCD. Oh my God, you're so weird and quirky. Oh, you're always making silly jokes, right? Maybe you're a comedian and you just haven't given yourself permission to be a comedian. Right? So just start to reflect on, what are your personality traits? You know, maybe you can make a list. We all have a purpose, we all have a Dharma, or like an inherent sort of patent that we all have within the soul. And the soul embodies the body. The personality that we have this lifetime is there to serve the purpose or the mission or the energy of the soul. So is your personality showing up in a way where it's serving you or where it's hindering you? This is key right here, right? This is key. Is your personality showing up in a way where it is hindering you or it's serving you? Because your personality is your personality. It is part of who you are in this lifetime, in this body, right? That's your personality. Is it hindering you or is it serving you? I'm not saying you have to change your personality. What I'm saying is you have to hone in on those skills that your personality is, and really make sure that you're using them in a way that it serves you, right? So if you're bossy, don't continue being bossy, but see if you can hone in on that ability to be a leader and to be a boss and to take charge. It's one thing to be bossy, it's another thing to be a boss, right? It's two totally different things, right? If you have like a strong passion to do something, or and you're super passionate about what you're doing, that's part of your personality. So like you get all fired up, you have passion about things. Are you driven or are you intense? So that passion could be part of your personality, but you may be using it in an intense way, which is not going to go good ever. It'll get you so far, and eventually it won't. You'll brush up against people's resistance, because nobody likes an intense person. But you could take that energy and be driven by it, be a driven person with your passion, and you can conquer the world with those things. So again, just take some time to reflect on your personality, and where have your personality traits been hindering you, or where have they been serving you? And if they have been hindering you, how can you repackage them or refurbish them in a way where they begin to really serve your mission and your purpose of your soul, right? Because this is where authenticity happens, when your personality is showing up to serve, right, the purpose of your soul or the energy of your soul. And so it really would benefit us to just sit down and contemplate, what is my personality? And if you don't know, ask other people. Ask your friends, ask your spouse, ask your children, ask your colleagues, just ask them, if you were to describe my personality, how would you describe it? And people will say things, and you can kind of pick apart those things and go, oh, how can I use this trait to serve my purpose, right? How can I use these traits to serve my purpose? I mean, this is huge. This is huge. This is so big. This is why I love this quote by Gary Zukov, right? And I'll say it again for you. Let me just get my notes and make sure that I am really honoring the quote and not just paraphrasing. So authenticity is when the personality comes fully to serve the energy of its soul. Right? Is your personality fully showing up to serve the energy or the calling of your soul? That to me is authenticity, when you're fully being you. All right? And so take some time to journal. That is what I want you to do. Let me just look at my notes here to make sure I'm getting all this stuff in here for you guys. Ooh, it's a long video. I'm so sorry. So make a list of your personality traits. How are they serving you? How are they hindering you? And how can you take the ones that are hindering you to help you serve your purpose and your mission? All right, I hope that this video has been helpful for you. If you're still here listening, thank you for following all the way through, listening to this video. I really, really am passionate about this topic of authenticity. And I know it takes a minute for us to get into a place of feeling authentic, but I'm hoping that this video has helped sort of unpack the idea of authenticity for you so that you can really start to embrace it. Because I want you to embrace who you are. Embrace who you are. Stop trying to be somebody else. Be yourself and be the best self that you can be, because you know what? The world needs you to show up fully in your greatness. We need it right now. We live in a really difficult time, and the world needs those light beings out there. I know if you're watching this video, you're a light being, otherwise you would not be still listening to this video. The world needs us light beings to be lit the heck up, because the only way that we drive out the darkness in our world is by being lit up and letting our light shine. And in order for our light to shine, we have to be in a place of authenticity. Otherwise, it's a narcissistic thing. It's not letting our light shine. It's just us like puffing up our ego, thinking that we're doing something awesome, but really just all ego based. So get into a place of authenticity. Figure out your personality traits. Are they serving your purpose, or are they hindering your purpose? And if they're hindering it, how can you change them? How can you reapproach those personality traits? How can you utilize those personality traits to really serve your soul? Or rather just serve you moving forward if you don't know your mission or your purpose yet. And one of my next videos will probably be about purpose and mission and all those things. So anyways, thank you for tuning in on this beautiful Monday. It's beautiful regardless of the weather. It's gloomy outside, but it's still beautiful because we're all here and we're all alive, and we are all having an opportunity to really step into our authenticity and be like a great force in this world that can be a part of like this amazing time that we live in, this time for change, for growth, and for evolution. Be a part of the growth of humanity right now. Don't be a part of the problem. You don't want to be a part of the problem. Be a part of the growth and the evolution and the transformation. We need it right now. So thank you for tuning in. I hope that you take time to journal, because that's really where the awarenesses are going to come. So take time to journal. Watch this video again later if you like while you're journaling, but take some time to just sit down, ask your friends some questions about yourself, and just start to hone in on your personality. Who is your personality? What is your personality? And how can you use that personality to really serve your great mission in life? And you're here on this planet because you have a great mission. We all have a great mission. And each of our missions are important. And the more you can step into your authentic self, the more you're going to serve that mission. All right, Light Warrior and Life Warrior, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here. If you found this video valuable, please share it with somebody that you know who you think could benefit from listening to it. As always, I appreciate you tuning in, and I look forward to our next Monday session. Keep your head up and your heart open wide, and I will talk to you next time. Beautiful, blessed Monday. Namaste.